All right. Hello, everybody. Hopefully, you're having an awesome Friday. Happy Friday to everybody. And today is day 25 of 30 going live, basically providing value for 30 days straight, just going live and sharing some thoughts, but also helping people with certain knowledge to help you towards your goals and understand more about yourself. And today is super special for me because this is the first time, actually, we spoke one on one, and you also get to share that experience together live. And I'm sure it's going to be a very special call, a special live stream here. So, our guest, oh my goodness, I'm really excited. I'm trying to you know, uh, what's the word? Not get too excited on camera, but anyway, this will set your weekend, um, you know, off to the right start, but also could be your entire life to off to the right start, right? So, our guest, is basically a top inner circle consultant with Bob Proctor at Proctor Gallagher. Also, a top selling author, CEO and founder at Diamond Mind Consulting. So, and also, facilitates a lot of calls for the consultants at Proctor Gallagher. And I get so much out of these calls, um, you know, mindset wise, motivation, inspiration, clarity. It's so powerful. Every call is so powerful. And, you know, it's interesting because sometimes you attract things that are just amazing in your life. And I'm glad I attracted this type of energy. And speaking of energy, she has amazing energy background. And, I'll let you, hear from her. She has a extensive background of experience. And I'm so happy that, you get to, meet her. I really had an idea, and I was talking about this yesterday, about following your intuition. And something told me to do this. Something told me to, um, connect with this individual and have her here. So let me see if she's here. Let me check the message and see if she's ready. I should stay live. We'll find out. If I don't stay live, I will jump right back. Let me check here. Am I still live? Okay, great. So let me see here. Okay, recently invited. Oh, that's so cool. And let's see here. Invite. And I'll message her here. Sorry, folks. Just want to make sure everybody's here already. Nope. Let me jump back. Sorry if it got frozen for a second there. And, I know something shared here will be tremendous value for someone. And especially, get you going where you need to go. And it's so important to understand, to seek an outside perspective when you've been trying to do things on your own, like myself. Trying to always just force things, but not really having clear direction and clarity. And, Bob always said, order of the mind. Order of the mind is so powerful when you have, I'm looking at our desk here, and it's very neat. There's a few things here and there that I'm fixing up here on camera, but it's like a clear desk, right? You feel better sitting at it. You feel a different vibration when you're studying on a nice clear desk. No dust. It's just clean, right? And even like when you wash your car, it feels like it's new again. You clean the inside outside of it, right? So it's essentially compared to your mind. I'm really thinking about when you have clarity on what you're doing and where you're going, it operates at a different level. It's so powerful when you really think about it. So let me see if she's here. But this is going to be awesome. And yeah, there she goes. Okay. Wants to join. There we go. Okay, we're good. There we go. We were good with sound. Find out here in a moment.
Oh,
Tara.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, awesome.
Uh, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, it's so good to be here. I had just a bit of difficulty joining, but I'm here.
Oh, no worries, no worries. You're here, I'm here, and I'm grateful you're here to hop on, and I appreciate it. Really do.
Oh, you're welcome. You're
Yeah.
welcome. So, yeah, I'm just on my phone, but this is great. Let's get into
Yeah.
this.
Yes, let's get into it. Okay, so I was thinking a little bit. Would you mind sharing just a little bit of your background, like a short intro, so people kind of know
Yeah,
your
sure.
essence?
Yeah, so my background, I have like over 30 years of energy and vibrational medicine, and I've been a senior yoga and meditation teacher 18 years. And then I realized that I needed to learn how to guide people and really mentor and coach people. So I spent 3 years with Tony Robbins, and I was getting some really great results, but I would like kind of have these big ups and then I would coast or I'd have big crashes. And so I believe we all get to a point where, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I was praying, like, what am I missing? What's going on here? I was happy, of course, that I had transformed my results. But there was just something that was missing. And again, I'd just get to this space where I would just feel stuck, or worse, I would crash. And that's where Bob Proctor appeared in my life. And I went into a personal mentorship with him. And that was back in 2018. I am also from Canada, and I've got some teenagers, and I've always been an athlete. So just a little bit about me.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I didn't know you were an athlete as well. So you've done a
Yeah,
lot.
I actually jet skied professionally for Canada. I made it to the World Finals, soccer, university basketball. I love surfing. I'm a huge outdoors person and athlete.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Yeah, I knew you were an outdoors person. I never knew about jet skiing. It's a fun fact.
yeah. Fun fact about me, for sure.
Yeah. Well, a lot of you, well, this is my personal Facebook profile, but a lot of you know about my background. I come from a military family. We traveled a lot. We live in different places. We lived in Italy for 3 years. I lived in Montana for 3 years. East Coast, mostly, in the US, and come from a music background. I started doing high school parties. I've been a DJ over 30 years. So,
No way, I
I
didn't know that about you.
see now we're learning about each other.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to hear some of your music.
Yeah. I produce music as well. I got some music on some TV shows and stuff like that. So it's
Very
a
cool.
creative side. I played instruments. I was in marching band. So I played in orchestras, where we play like classical music and stuff like that. So, and after that, I went straight in the corporate world to kind of, pay off student loans and stuff like that. And I kind of got stuck there for a long time. And I'm sure we'll kind of get into that a little bit. And after that, I kind of transitioned into more passion, you know, passion employment, basically passion projects or driven with basically whatever spoke to me, outside of working a traditional job. So, and here I am now talking to you. That's a short version.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
I had no idea. That is really cool.
Thank you. Thank you. So we're here to basically provide value, of course, and I'm sure something shared here would be, really special. And one thing that I've been seeing a lot, from my experience, is, you know, some people not seeing the value of what personal development can do for them. Um, and not only seeing the value, but also not kind of understanding how it's connected to their results. And you and I have a wealth of knowledge of that particular area. Was there something that you can share about that, basically?
Wow, yeah, I can share a lot about this. I mean, we're all a product of a product. I mean, we're all genetically and environmentally programmed. And a little bit about my background is I came from, a background where there was a lot of dysfunctional patterns, poverty, abuse, addiction. Unfortunately, I lost my parents too soon. And, our parents do the best that they can, for sure. And I love my parents ton, of course, and I'm so grateful for all the good programming because it's not all bad. But I realized, um, and I think it was unfortunately, I lost my mom in a fire when I was 21. And, I watched her really struggle and a lot of self sabotaging patterns and some trauma and addiction and stuff like that. And I just knew it was like emotional impact. Like if I don't do something, and I recognized some of those patterns, right? It's like, if I don't do something, I'm going to be in big trouble here. And I think, it was Bob Proctor who said, you got to have enough confidence that you're open to learn, but not too much confidence that you're not willing to like open your mind to something else. And I think I just knew. And I think that's why you got to open your mind. And I think there's that part of, I think all of us, when we just know it's not going to work out right, or we're just feeling stuck, or we're in nasty patterns and habits and behaviors that we just know long term they're not going to create the success and move us towards the life that we want. And I knew I needed to go somewhere. I knew that, it just wasn't working. And I remember at that time, and I think that there was always this, because I'd spent all these years in, holistic health. And I mean, I got sick after that. I got cancer. I mean, I had so much emotional impact. So I started reaching out to others that knew more than me. And I think that's where you're going to grow. I mean, you're going to grow when you are open to growth mindset. And I mean, I also at that time was in survival mode. So I was like, man, if I don't do something, I mean, I'm going to be leaving this world way too early, just like my parents. And so that gave me the confidence actually to start reaching out to others that were like higher level mentors. And I know even like moving into that mentorship with Tony, which was massive because it was a huge amount of time and money for me. I mean, remember, I came from like, welfare, social services. Like I was one of those kids. I mean, to spend money on mentorship and to get that kind of support, I, I guess I had to build my confidence. So I did, studying everything I was studying and going to other mentors that were maybe just a little bit less initially. But I knew there was something inside of me that just knew there was so much more. And if I wanted to reach that so much more, I would have to get the wisdom and the knowledge and the mentorship from those people. So when I went into that first mentorship with Tony, again, the cost was huge. Um, I spent 3 years. I probably spent $100,000 easily, and then traveling. I've been all over the world, like Texas, Fiji. I've been to all these places. But I can tell you, it's been that mentorship. I mean, if I didn't have that mentorship, I don't know where I would be today because, again, we're all just a product of a product. And mentorship has been the absolute best decision because we all got to make decisions. And I was never even taught how to make decisions. So I think like that's the problem with most people is they can't make a decision. They lack that confidence in themselves. They lack seeing that they're worth it. The best decision I believe personally, Jamal, that anybody can make is investing in you. That is the best decision that I ever made was investing in me. And it is an investment that I continued with, of course, and has created absolute miracles in my life. And the life I'm living now, I could have never imagined that this would be my life. And it's just when we're in growth mindset and we do need accountability and we need great guides and we need great mentors. You should be working with someone who has, some knowledge and understanding, who's maybe getting the results that you want. it is a really, really, really good life because we really truly like it's the that accountability piece is so key and essential. And um I think like yeah, I couldn't even imagine my life without moving in that direction. Like I think and ultimately, even so I know that for many people it's a big shift in their paradigm because again, you're going to have to see you're worth it. You're going to have to take the time, which is by the way, it's our most valuable commodity, which is I looked at that for me was like this is self-care. Like if I don't do this, I mean, too, I mean, some people will want to make those changes when they're sick or through emotional impact, but you want to do it always in the now. Like you want to make those decisions. If you know that you need to do better and you need to get, we should always be in growth mindset. We should always be working with mentors. We should always have great coaches. I mean, frig, I decided a few years ago I was going to drink coffee. I'd never drank coffee before. So I did a mentorship with one of like Canada's top, I forget what you call him because he specializes, he's from Italy, but in how to make the perfect cappuccino. I mean, I went at night and did mentorship with him. I go to the gym, I got my kinesiologist. He's working with me, 3 times a week. I'm with my coach. I believe that we need to have great mentors and that the ones that are reaching those levels of success in their personal professional lives, they always have a coach. They always have a mentor. That's just my thoughts. But I mean, I've been able to create absolute miracles. I mean, I come from poverty. I come from addiction. I mean, really, it didn't look good. And there's like even in my siblings, there's 4 of us. I was just talking to one of my siblings. He's had a life of homelessness and addiction. You know what? That was his programming. You know, he always says, "Well, it was easier for you." I said, "It wasn't easier for me. I made different decisions." You know, it all comes down to making those, we got to make those decisions. And life's not happening to us, it's actually for us and happening through us. But it's uncomfortable, especially if you're not programmed for success. I wasn't programmed for success. I mean, my family didn't even talk about goals. They were just talking about how to like make a buck and make the next bill payment. There was a lot of chaos. There was a lot of stress. There was a lot of disease and disease thinking.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
I love it. I love it because you come from, it's interesting. We kind of share that as well. I didn't share in the intro that I was born in New York and it's a really rough area where I was born. And, and you mentioned decision, my dad made a decision to go in the military right after high school. So that decision kind of pulled us out of that type of environment, but also allowed us to see different places and different cultures and just see different people. So I'm hearing decision, and he made a decision that shaped us, and I think about personal development. The decision of doing that, what we're doing, is also shaping our families in a positive way as well, because it's kind of, you mentioned you weren't thinking about goals, with your family, at the time. And you're just thinking about, the next check or getting the next buck. And, it's interesting how your thinking changes when you start making decisions towards a higher version. Right. So it was just a few things that came to mind as you were sharing your story and, your journey. So speaking of journey, you went through so much and it's so special to hear that up until this point where you are, share a little bit how your life looks like now with these decisions that you made, you know, towards the, I'll let you share the, basically the growth that you
Yeah.
received.
Yeah. So, one thing just to kind of
Yeah.
backtrack too, because I think that, again, our results, they never lie. Like our results are just showing us how, we've been programmed. That's the subconscious part of ourself. And, I'm really grateful because, my mom, although she really struggled, there was that part of her like your dad that said, look at this isn't going to work for us. I want to give my kids a better life. So my mom stepped out of an abusive alcoholic life, and she took four little kids, no money, no support. And I mean, I couldn't even imagine like what she was going through. But that's one thing, is she was persistent. She was persistently, and she got herself into, like, the 12-step program, and was seeking out mentorship, and had stepped away from that life. And I think like that persistence and wanting something better is something that all of us got from our mom. But I want to remind everybody here, we can't just do that once in a while, even with a 12-step program. Because I just met a client who just celebrated 18 and a half years of being clean himself. You got to do the work. I've been consistently doing the work every day, and having accountability, and having coaches, and having mentors, because it's like a 12-step program. She was clean, I think, for like 13 years or something. And then that's the ego, right? Oh, I got this. I don't need any help. I don't need anybody. And it was the very first time she relapsed, and she died in her own house fire. I think that we always need to surround ourselves by people that, again, that saying, if you're the smartest person in the room, get the heck out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so great for her example, because she was very open about the dysfunctional patterns in our family. So that at least gave me a place to like realize that it wasn't healthy and I could do better. And she was moving towards betterment. But I think we have to be very mindful of how nasty the paradigm is, and the ego. And I know for me, I remember Bob would often say, just when you think you probably don't know. Like, we need to always be surrounding ourselves with others that are holding us accountable and getting us to stretch. And we've got to do that work every day. It's not like, successful leaders, it's like easy. And, they have to every day do the work. They have to every day, just like someone who's having a tough time, it gets easier. The more you develop yourself and you develop your mind, and you start to understand how to harmonize yourself with law. That was a game changer for me with this work with Bob. That was huge, because it was like, oh, it's my paradigm. It's not that I'm just like, just like the most screwed up and human. It's the programming. And the cool thing is I get to shift that. And that's how my life has changed, Jamal, is that I'm sovereign. I'm a sovereign being. I'm responsible for me. Like, the buck stops here. No longer am I just a victim of my circumstances, because that's, I think, how I felt even as a kid. And I think a lot of people feel that way. But that's one thing I've learned through mentorship and through studying this material, is that, it's on me to do the work. And I'm going to have to show up. I'm going to have to be persistent. I have the ability to think. Like, that was a game changer. And just the ability to like create, and it's okay. I'm still going to have days that might be a little bit tough, and I'm going to have obstacles. But the more I develop myself, the better it's going to get. And that's that betterment. I mean, it seems so simple, but I think most people on this planet feel like victims, and they're blaming their circumstances. They're blaming the government, the healthcare system. There's always something outside of them. I mean, I grew up with that kind of a paradigm. Now it's like, I'm sovereign. Yeah, are the systems broken? For sure. Okay. But you can step outside of that and be the leader of your own life. So no matter what is going on, I am the leader. Do you know how empowering that is? It's like, this is my life. I get to live it how I want to, but that's a place of 100% responsibility. And that's been a massive shift, because I grew up where there's a lot of programming around
Mm-hmm.
that, right? There's been many things that have shifted in my life, for sure. Another thing that was huge is I grew up in a very reactive household. Of course, if you grew up with alcoholics, it's cray cray. So being a leader is you respond versus react. You live from the inside out. You no longer let your circumstances dictate your mood or how you show up. I'm in charge of me again. So that's been a huge shift, because I just grew up where it was constant reactivity and fighting. I don't have any of that around me. I will run away from that. If there's chaos, drama, or confusion, I am going to step away from those situations, even those friendships. I'm going to send you love, but that's just not who I am. And the older version of me was almost addicted to that. Why? Because that's how love was shown to me. I didn't know anything other than that. I've been, my original training is actually in university's physical therapy. Um, you know, that was huge because I graduated, went to university. My parents hadn't, of course. And I remember Bob saying, well, what's the most you've ever earned? Well, that was kind of scary to even mention what I had earned. But at the time, it was $50,000 working at the hospital when I did. And I've been able to earn that multiple times in one day. Like, how freaking crazy is that, right? Like, so that was huge for me. I remember even when Bob introduced that idea, well, why don't you take the most you've ever made and make that every month? I mean, I've done that multiple times in a day. Like, and I come from extreme poverty. We ended up homeless, like welfare, you name it. I think like another thing is my ability to make an impact, to be a leader, to make a positive impact. I believe the purpose in living is to serve. And so that has been huge to just, to be able to show up internationally and be with phenomenal humans like yourself and just make an impact. Like, but most importantly, not doing it in a way that I need to fix anybody or anything outside of myself. It's about me leading, right? So I got Mahatma Gandhi
Yeah.
on my leadership wall, with Marcus Aurelius and Joan of Arc. But it's about being the change that you wish to see. So the more I continually grow and work on me, the more I am unconsciously giving permission to other people to do the same. And that's all the mentors that I worked with did. Like, I've worked with Robin Sharma and Tony Robbins, I mean, Bob Proctor, working with other leaders like yourself. The more we do the work, again, this is how we support humanity. It's really about coming in here and doing it and then being able to be in service. And another big thing that shifted for me, Jamal, was my health. I didn't realize, but I was constantly sick as a kid. But imagine the stress. I mean, I was just sick all the time. I recognized that with my siblings. We were just always sick. We just never felt good. Like vibration was low, always cold. And even when I came into this work with Bob, that's how my paradigm showed up initially, was I would get sick. Like even if I did like a live event, it'd be like, oh my God, I got the flu. I haven't been sick in years, not even through COVID. I treated COVID families. By the way, I never got COVID, but I'm just telling you, that was a game changer. I mean, disease is just lack of ease. It's like where we forget who we are. That has been a massive shift because I just grew up where I had two younger siblings that were chronically sick, but there was a lot of stress, of course. And when the mother's under stress, it affects the kids. I didn't realize until literally the last few months that I was just always chronically sick. And now I am never sick, never get sick. I mean, knock on wood, but I'm just telling you, went through like some of the biggest, you know, challenges on the planet where everybody supposedly was getting sick and dying. And I was treating those families. I didn't even wear a mask. They're like, oh, you're around people, you're going to get sick. I didn't get sick. So, I mean, it's an inside job, friends. Like we want to get the mentorship. We need to get the understanding of the laws of our being, and we need to be with others. And I can tell you, I could probably talk for hours around all the positive shifts in my life. I mean, I'm living in the very home that I helped build when I was like 14. Talk about manifestation. I live on the lake. We have a beach like Hawaii. You know, I grew up on welfare stamps, homeless, and in horrible spaces. So, you know, we've got big boats. I mean, we got planes. You want to go for a flight through this material? My partner became a pilot. So we've got our own plane. But it's not about the material and it's not about the money. I never grew up with any of that. I grew up with nothing and then I got everything. It's not about that. But that has been, I mean, it's because I did the work. The cool thing is yes, I lived this awesome life and now I can share it with everybody because I don't believe anything belongs to me anyways. It's all creators. But it's just, I could have never imagined that this would be my life. And this is like, I hope you can feel that from my heart. It's just like, that's why I wake up every day and I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
But you know what? I did the work. and I continually do the work. That's a thing. You got to continually do the work. Um, because the habit nature, the paradigm is so strong. That's why we call it the devil. If you stop doing the work, it's like if you stop going to the gym, you're going to lose your muscles. They actually will atrophy super fast. So you got to be with others that are in growth mindset. You do need mentorship. You do need some sort of guide. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. I didn't realize the power of mentorship, and especially your environment, the people you keep around. You know, every call I'm on with you, it's like vibration raises. I learned something, I'm writing a note, I'm applying it and doing the work. So it's so, so important to growth. And I love everything you've been through, and to where you are. It's amazing. And you said you wake up, I'm grateful, thank you. And you wake up in gratitude. That is amazing. So I'm really happy for you. Every time, I hear you share a little bit about it, I learn a new things here and there, but it's amazing. And I'm like speechless because it reminds me of Bob a little bit. As Bob said, I was always sick, in his videos, and he's like, I didn't have any money, you know, and he went from where he was, to where, you know, basically his success and how he impacted millions of people, right? So it's amazing to see the transition and also be aware of this type of knowledge of what we're using to do the work, and I saw it so much awareness, and I'm glad I attracted it, and awesome people like yourself. And but yeah, something came to mind. Did you have a favorite Bob moment where, whether it's on a call, video, or in person, something that comes to mind that, you would like to share? I was just thinking.
Yeah, I think it was at a training. Like I remember I had some really key aha moments. And like I said, I mean, just part of the programming for me was, I was always stuck in this kind of, the world's happening to me. Like, am I the most screwed up human on this planet, or do I come from the most screwed up family? Like, and I think, maybe others that are here can sometimes relate to that, especially because I had also done a lot of training and, gone university, but I also there was a lot of mental health in my family. So I didn't like looking back. I think I was depressed most of the time. I just wouldn't even admit to it, but it was programming, right?
Mhm.
Um, and by the way, that's been a massive shift too. And um, but I think the biggest moment I had, as far as with Bob, is when we were in Toronto at a training. I think it was like one of my first trainings, and I remember Bob standing up on stage. It was so emotional for me. And just for those of you that are listening, I mean, the language of your subconscious mind is feeling. That's why we always say feeling's the secret. And Bob stood up on stage, and Bob just really embodied like spirit and heart. And he said, I am so sorry for everything that has happened to you. And just the way he said that, like, it was just like, I think many people just want to be seen. I think there is many layers of generational trauma. I think we're seeing it play out even right now. My family had all come from the war, right? There's a lot of patterns. I mean, that's why what's addiction? It's coping. We're trying to cope something. It's like to cope is like a cloak to cover up, right? And because you can imagine how crazy it was, just the environment as a kid. It was very confusing, of course, because there was abuse as well. There was a lot of stuff. And it was just the way he said that. And he just said, I'm sorry. So if you're listening, I'm sorry. I am like, I feel that way too. I'm like, I'm so sorry, whatever you've been through. Because I know that many of you that are listening have been through a lot, whether that is a similar thing that I went through, or whether it is past failures you've experienced, or a loss of a loved one, whatever it is. And when Bob said that, it was just like, it's like, I see you. And then he said, I'm sorry, someone might be responsible for programming you, but you are responsible now for programming yourself for what it is you desire. And I remember being like, Yeah, like that's essential. It's like I get to choose. And I mean, that is that place of sovereignty. And I think that there's no better time to step into sovereignty and that place of responsibility. It's why one of my favorite books is written by three Navy SEALs. I've done Navy SEAL training, and the book is called Extreme Ownership. I love that book because, success and failure always trickles from the top. And in every one of us is leading in some capacity. It's just whether we're a good leader or not. But if you're not getting the results you want in your relationship, in your family, in your business, and you're ultimately the leader, well, you got to take responsibility. It's on you to do the work. And I believe that there's no better time to declare yourself as a sovereign being and as a leader and do the work than right now. Why? Because on a bigger level, um, you a lot of you are sucked into all this political craziness, but we don't have a lot of really great leadership on this planet. And so if you're like me and you're expecting someone to step into that place of leadership, I think for a long time I was expecting my parents to, or someone to save me. By the way, most people on this planet will muscle test negative to I am safe because most people don't feel safe. So they're looking for someone to save them. I hate to break the news to you, but nobody's going to save you. Nobody. Nobody's going to save you. It's on you to save you. It's on you to do the work. The great thing is you got Jamal, right? You have others around you that are leading, and this is even what I do. And I'm so grateful for such incredible mentorship because you can borrow that mentor's faith in you. Like that's what I had to do for a long time. I had to borrow Tony's faith in me, and I had to borrow Bob's faith in me. And now I don't need to borrow their faith because I know I can do this. But initially, that's what's so empowering with having and surrounding yourself with really good people that understand the mind and are doing the work every day, is that you can borrow their belief in you. I met with a young guy who's just 10 months clean yesterday. And that's what he said to me. He said, well, I'm really excited, to move towards something bigger, but I really lack belief. And I'm kind of like, I have a lot of doubts. And I just said to him, that's okay. Guess what? You can borrow my belief in you because I know who you are. You have forgotten who you are, but I know who you are and I know you can do this. And, right there, everything shifted. You know, um, that is what's so great about surrounding yourself with others. So you want to surround yourself with others that believe in you and support you. And unfortunately, that's not going to be oftentimes your family members or your partner initially because they have similar paradigms to yours because we're magnets. And that's what you mentioned, Jamal. That's why be mindful of what you're attracting, even in energy, because I've got a lot of new German medicine and all these practices I love. It's like, if I attracted a lot of clients with liver problems, it's like, oh, anger. Like, what's that about? So be mindful of what you're attracting. That's another shift for me. I only attract like world leaders, incredible humans around the world. It's amazing. But it's because this work and leadership is really about living from within, like as within, so without. So it's an inside job. But that, to make a long story short, that was the biggest impact was Bob just standing on stage and just taking a moment and saying, hey, I'm sorry. Like, I know you've been through maybe hell and back. And, there's a lot of things you've been through. And I'm sorry, but it's up to you to change that generational, that environmental programming, those losses. And it's up to you to create the life that you want now. And that is extreme ownership. And so the ones that are going to succeed on this planet and leave this planet better off than we found it are going to be the ones that choose to lead. They're going to be the ones that get uncomfortable, the ones that are working with others that are doing the same. And so that's what I wish for everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, so well said. So well said. Thank you, Tara. That was amazing. There's a story that came to mind really quick, and I don't want to, keep you too long. I know you have to go. It was about Bob talking about time, where he brings out the hourglass. And you mentioned, now is the time. He said the past is the past, and the future, you don't know how long you're here. You don't know if you're here for, a year or 30 years, but he said the present is what you do now in this moment. And it reminds me of the quote, the present is a present. It's because of what you do in this special moment shapes your tomorrow. So it just came to mind as you were.
Yeah, I love that. And it is so true. That's why, most people, unfortunately, they're stuck in the past.
Yeah.
That's like reverse thinking. Whatever you focus on grows. So, like, why would we want to live in the past? I mean, make amends with the past. Um, the future's too far ahead, and the future has a lot of worries and doubts for most people, but it's in the moment right now. It's in this present moment. So even as you're listening to Jamal and I, you know, there is something inside of you, which I just call spirit, that wants to grow, that wants to expand. And, even if you're not aware, there, we are goal seeking humans. I don't know, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe it's to just get in shape or feel better, or maybe write a book, whatever that is. You got to take action in the now. It's always in the present. The way that you're programming, like the paradigm works, is it says, oh, I'll do that tomorrow, or I'll do that a month from now, or it's too hard, or where's the money going to come from? Like, you just got to take imperfect action, and just, you got to do it from the present moment. That is really the gift. And so I would say, like, to give you an action step, as far as, like, after listening to this, like, what action step, like, do you need to take to move towards a better version of you and to really reach some of your own goals and dreams? It might be even just to sit down and start thinking about goals and dreams. I'd never really thought about that. And of course, Jamal and I would both encourage you to find somebody, find a mentor, find a guide, find a coach. I do that with everything I do now. I mean, I've worked with some of the best in cooking. I'm an Ayurvedic coach, so I've worked with some of the best Ayurvedic coaches. Whatever it is, you got to find somebody who has the education, the understanding, and the wisdom. So that's that transference of energy. So you can work with them, and the work doesn't end. It's not like, I'm done. No, you woke up another day. So again, we want to be doing it, but it's harder not to do the work, if you ask me.
Mm.
It's so we've got to do something. So yeah, and also that's that place of just being present and being grateful for everything that you do have right now. But I would encourage you to also, yes, be mindful of the present moment and really enjoy it and be grateful. But what action can you take in this moment to move towards being a better leader, moving towards the life that you want?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Amazing. And I was also thinking to put my call link in the comments area of this post. So that way, taking action, it's right here, especially you have some big goals or just any type of improvement or growth. And Tara, thank you so much
Yeah,
for,
and I would encourage, like, and all the listeners, like Jamal asked me to jump on this call. I mean, he's such a great guy. What I love about Jamal is he's an intelligent student. In order to be a phenomenal leader, we've got to be an intelligent student, and intelligent students become phenomenal leaders. I would book a call with Jamal. If you're jumping on this call, maybe even share this with somebody else who could use some support. By the way, there's no better time to share, which is caring and serving and helping, because that's how we can use social media for the good, because there is a lot of darkness out there and a lot of drama and negativity. But use this, like, share it. I'm sure Jamal will make this shareable. Book a call. It never hurts. I mean, that's what I did. It was scary very first time I did that, but I was like, that spirit nudging you, going, yep, you're not, you're just spinning your wheels, right? Where are you going to be this New Year's? So just get uncomfortable. It never hurts to book the call, to learn more. And Jamal is just such an incredible leader with our company. So I would highly recommend you reaching out to him. And he's going to learn more about you and just see if you're a good fit, to move forward, because you have to be able to make decisions, and because decision makers are leaders, so you got to be able to make that decision. You got to see that you're worth it. And is it going to be easy? No, change is never easy. In the beginning it's hard, in the middle it's messy, in the end it's glorious. So that's just to hopefully inspire, because your life is going to completely transform in the most amazing ways if you actually do that. And that is the best thing I did. But unfortunately, it took a lot of emotional impact, almost losing my life to cancer, and to just a life of mental chaos, wherever that could have gone. I just knew. And if you know that you're not going in the right direction, or even if you're getting great results and you just want to get better results, and there's something here or you're being pulled, there's no coincidence. Just reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I'll end this and thank you again for your time, lending, a moment of your time and joining us and sharing so many beautiful diamonds.
You're welcome. Well, thanks for inviting me, Jamal. Hopefully, we'll get some people thinking.
Yeah,
And again, just thanks for the invite to be here on this call. And hopefully, those that came maybe wrote down some notes and they're going to take action.
absolutely. Yep. All right.
Awesome. Okay. Have a great day, Jamal.
Thanks again.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Bye bye.
Bye.